This anime is so freaking funny. The end of the anime where the elf girl comes in and she stumbles upon the feast that Tachibana and that Jinguchi were eating, and she digs in because she was so hungry and she's chasing after them, and she digs in. She was like, "This is so good," and the spirit of the guardian ends up behind her watching over. I lost it. Like my eyes were watering for how much I was crying from that scene. I was like, yo, did they really just make this girl eat her poor guardian? I was like, oh no. And that's exactly what happened. And then she gets just taken away by the tentacle monster. And I was like, yeah, that's the right way to go out. Like this anime is just so good and just so enjoyable that I am just having a great time watching this. Now, the name of the anime, the fantasy Bishoujo Total Knock, it's way too long. It's way too long. But regardless, I'm having a great time watching this. I think one of my favorite things so far about this anime completely is the relationship or the inner turmoil between Tachibana and between Jinguchi. Like the lovers quarrel that's kind of going on and kind of like the love that's spurring from them. Like in certain times you forget that they're actually struggling with, well, not they. I guess they both are in a sense. So you have Tachibana who's struggling with the gender identity, right? Because of who he was, who he is, who he wants to be. And he doesn't really know that, right? So is he going to fully accept and embrace the fact that he is now this beautiful girl? And is this who he always wanted to be? Is this who he felt like he was to begin with, right? And is he now going to kind of accept who he is going forward? Or is it going to be something to where his passion still lied to where who he was before, and he kind of wants to be swapped back or put back to how he was? And that's made even more evident during the scene, kind of like towards the end of the episode, right before Tachibana throws up. And in that scene, he's like, "Where do you think gender identity lies?" Kind of like in the soul or in the body, kind of thing. And Jinguchi gives him an actual really good answer, which I pretty much aligned with. And he gives him the answer of, well, it lies wherever you think it does, and whatever you feel is right. So he's basically telling him, like, if you feel that this you is the best representation of who you are, then this is who you are. But if you feel like who you were is who you are, then that's who you are. So I actually really like the answer quite a bit. And on the opposite side with Jinguchi, the struggle that he's having specifically is the attraction level to Tachibana. And I think that in Jinguchi, it's an interesting character, interesting dynamic, interesting turmoil as well. And the reason that that turmoil is so interesting is not necessarily because he's struggling with the attraction to Tachibana. It's the pre-attraction that he had before. And in the first episode, it was made really evident when he was kind of struggling with, the fact that he could never meet a woman and the fact that he could never fall in love. And he always had this person in his life in Tachibana, who has always kind of meant a lot to him, who has always been really important to him. And I think at some point, if life were to pan out a certain way, he may end up with Tachibana regardless. And Tachibana was kind of having the same realizations too of Jinguchi as well. And they were kind of having like this partnership that they had there, which could eventually, grow into something more. Obviously, it was never allowed, and they never got there to actually explored that. But because of now this new way that things are being done, then that is an evident way for this love to actually bloom and blossom, and for them to both be okay with this situation. I just think it's just an interesting concept that's kind of buried in a little bit into the surface level, and the surface level is really like this weird situation and funniness and comedy and isekai. So you have all those layers, and at the kind of like the root of it, you have like this overarching, more serious kind of thing, which I think is really, really cool of the anime to do and to explore. But this episode specifically with number 3 was it was hilarious. It was awesome to watch. I really enjoy interaction between Jinguchi and I keep wanting to say fairy, but the elf girl. The fact that he throws the rocks and just obliterates this poor girl's hair, and she now has an effed up haircut. And the fact that they ate their spirit guardian. I just think that this episode was just really, really, really hilarious. And on top of it all, they also had the scene where Tachibana faces against her in like a beauty contest, and all the villagers pick Tachibana. I think that was really funny too. But overall, I'm really vibing with this anime. I'm really vibing with what they're putting down here. This episode is really enjoyable. I laughed like 3 or 4 times. I laughed when Tachibana got drunk. I laughed when she threw up and just like and Jinguchi's like, yo, this is you're drunk. That really shows your age. I laughed so hard because like, yo, I vibe with that. Like they're my age. I vibe with that a lot. I laughed when she got taken in by the tentacle monster, and when she was like, it's dark, I can't see, and then she looks, she's like, oh, I don't want to see that. She puts her clothes back, and I was like, he's like, you gotta live in reality. I think this episode is just funny. And I also love how they keep using the apartment to sleep and do their hair and do everything else and eat and everything. I love how they keep using this. Like, they have like their reality in this twisted reality, which I think is really cool too. Overall, really fun episode. Really enjoyed it. I love this anime so far. It's a delight. It's one of a few anime that's really, really good and really stands out as a new, funny, really good anime this season. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Put down what your thoughts are and feelings of episode 3 and the anime completely. Put that all in the comments below. And I'll see you all next week for episode 4.